Okay, we're live. So I guess I'll be the group leader since I'm recording it. Um, okay, I'm gonna go to the page real quick. You guys want to talk about what you did for your interventions?
Yeah.
I'll go first. Okay, so me and my partner, we did studies, or no, we didn't conduct the studies personally, but we decided to research on over like obesity in children. And so we targeted like around the age of 6 to 11, and like we took the approach of like potential issues and like somewhat with those with issues, and we researched articles about like intervention things that parents can do. And I don't know if you guys saw that video about that little girl and her parents like changed her life completely because she was overweight and she was like getting bullied in school from it. And so we like kind of used that as our base and our foundation for our research. And her parents like put her in activities and got her involved in different sports, and also changed her eating habits. But they like did it as a family. So the biggest thing that we like really targeted, because we did it through a blog, was doing and having support with the family and like doing it together. That way like the child doesn't feel alone, and then also getting them involved in activities.
Is that the one that went on Dr. Phil or something?
Some TV
Yeah, something
show.
like that. I
Yeah.
remember watching that.
Yeah.
Is that in our class? I think we did one. We watched one in our class.
I feel like we did. It was one
Yeah.
of these
Yeah,
online
we
classes.
did. We did.
Oh, Claire's on. Okay, um, I think that's cool. You guys decided to do a blog.
hmm
Did you like have a lot of views? I don't know how blogs work.
I have not checked it like recently. I can tell you right now. Hold on a second. Let's see. Blogger. Oh, there we go. Sorry, it's pulling up. Okay, so it looks like we had about as many views as our families, because like we put it on our Facebook, so it like looks
Oh,
like we have some views from our families. I don't know, because like we couldn't put it on the anywhere for our class to look at it. So it's like pretty much our families, it looks like.
okay. You want me to go next?
Sure.
Okay. Yes. Just like you guys, we did on obesity too, and then we did a fact sheet, and we did age 6 to 11, and let's say we targeted like parents, teachers, I guess anyone who could benefit from this information, I guess. And let's say mostly like on our fact sheet, we tried to explain what is obesity, like the difference between obesity and just being just being fat, like the difference between fat and obesity. And we talked about, okay, we put like how many, let's say, um, the percentage of children, let's say age 6 to 11 in the United States who are obese, it has increased. Like in 1980, it was um, 7%, and then in 2012, it was 18%.
Hmm.
And then also in the research, we found out like one third of children and adolescents were overweight or obese. Um, and then we talked about the risk the risk factors of being overweight or obese, like the diseases that you can get, like any type of cancer,
Mm-hmm.
mostly like including breast cancer, colon cancer, kidney, pancreas, gallbladder, thyroid, ovary cancers, prostate, even melanoma. And then children and adolescents who are obese now, that at like they have a greater risk for bones and joint problems, sleep apnea, social and psychological problems, and poor self-esteem. So, and then we posted like organizations that parents can go to find help, like in their communities.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say we put like American Public Health Association. We put a website, like that website. It has ideas what parents can do with their families there. And then the other one, we put the other organization called Community Health. Like Community Health, like I think like most of the states they have it, so you have to check your local listing. And then YMCA, like usually it has programs that are way cheap, like the family can afford them. But if they can't afford them, like there is government grants that can help for parents to get help to put their children in the activities there. And then for family interventions and plan, okay, yeah, we talked about also they say for exercising, things that parents can do to help their children is like the activities they can do. Let's say they can go hiking together, biking, go to the park, just play games like tag, just chase each other around, especially summertime. Like um, it's a good time for parents to go outdoor with their children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, play balls and other things.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then let's say for family intervention and action plans, we put like yeah, families they need to eat together as a family, but eat less.
Mm-hmm.
And other things, okay, put like
Okay.
have half a plate
Hey
of
guys,
fruit
sorry.
and uh, is somebody coming in?
Yeah, Claire just joined us.
Oh, okay. Uh, okay, I'm waiting for my
Claire, we're just talking about our interventions.
yeah, and then mine is on obesity.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so right now I'm talking about the family interventions and action plans that families can do to help their children.
Yeah, so we're only supposed to take about 2 minutes to talk
Oh,
about our
is it?
intervention.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
Claire,
you mentioned like yeah, eating whole wheat grains like instead of let's say for families drinking whole milk, they can switch to skim milk and they can eat like choose food with less sodium. I think that's all.
okay, cool. Claire, what did you do for your intervention?
Let me pull it up real quick because I've had like a zillion projects, and so I'm trying to remember which one this was. And I just got barely done with another group hangout thing chat. So, anyways, it's been a long morning already. Um,
I can go while you're pulling yours up.
yeah, that would be great. Sorry.
Okay. For mine, me and my partner decided to do cognitive, and we did pornography, and it was on the ages 6 to 11 because I've done a lot of research on this in previous classes, and it's something that really intrigued me. So I wanted to know how to help kids, and we made a pamphlet that can help parents teach their kids about pornography and how to avoid it. But basically, we researched that, or we found in our research that the average age that kids are exposed to pornography is 9. And so we wanted to address that age group. And we just talked about ways that you can help your child. Like, I think a lot of times we tend to avoid talking about these subjects, and it becomes kind of taboo. So we talked about how important it is to talk to kids about sexuality early and to be very open and have them ask you questions rather than go to the internet for their answers.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just like how it can affect them cognitively, it's very addictive. It changes the brain, and it can, like, if it starts early, it can mess up their life no matter what. But the earlier it starts, the worse it is. So that's what we did.
That's good.
Okay, I'm ready now. Can I go? Okay, yeah, sorry. So we did obesity as well, and we targeted it towards 6 to 11-year-old kids. That was our target age. And then we basically just made a PowerPoint presentation. We targeted it more towards the parents because I feel like a lot of kids, I have a nephew who is like really, really obese, and his parents and it's not some hidden addiction or something that he has going on. Like, it's a visible issue that they have to deal with in their family. And so we targeted it towards kind of like introducing how it kind of comes about and things you can do, like different healthcare providers you can see, different alternatives, like, I don't know, working as a family before you go to a healthcare professional. In one of my classes this semester, we talked about how this family like worked with this girl. This entire family decided to like eat better and go on walks together and like all kinds of things that really, really helped her lose the weight that she needed. And in the end, like, there were things that a doctor was needing to help her with, like her thyroid was out of whack, like those kinds of things. But it started in the family first, so we kind of based ours towards around teaching the parents like what they can do to better help their kids who are struggling with obesity. So that was ours.
Awesome. Sounds like you guys all did obesity. Okay, let's go to the next question. So now we're supposed to describe the social or emotional domain intervention that we researched this week. This is just supposed to be a couple minutes. State whether you have actually implemented the intervention personally to address the identified problem. If so, discuss how effective the intervention was. If not, discuss research or other evidence assessing the effectiveness of the intervention. Who wants to go?
Well, I can wait. Hold on a second. Let me pull up my articles.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up mine too.
We did I did it on secure attachment, and I know, like, my son, the reason why I chose to do this is because my son is super attached to me, and he turns 1 next month, and so I'm obsessed with my child. Yeah. And so, like, it's ridiculous. Like, I can't even go to the bathroom without him crying. And, like, he's so attached. And so I was like, you know what? Like, this is already, like, major secure attachment. So I decided to look up some articles. And, like, I love using the school's library online base. It's the EBSCO host, because there's a million scholarly reviewed articles on there. And there was a research study done on secure attachment with the primary caregivers, and it just said that, like, it was, like, comforting to me because, like, it shows that the relationship between the parent and child it's a positive relationship, because, like, although, like, some children are born and, like, just are, like, go, go, go personalities. Like, I have a friend whose daughter, like, she's not much of a cuddler, and, like, she loves meeting new people, but, like, her and her mom are, like, best friends. Like, but it was just, like, comforting to me to read this article that, like, I have reached a positive relationship and connection with my son. And what else did it say? I have it pulled up and highlighted right here. It also says that, like, sometimes given multiple caregivers, it can foster to, like, what's that attachment? Like the displacement attachment, or I forget the term, but it's like where they're not sure, like, which caregiver they should trust the most, just because the parent is in and out of the home. And it just, like I said, it gave me it was a comfort to me to see through this research that like I am doing good as a parent, and like I just have to it also said like different ways of like slowly introducing them to people, and most of the time it's like when the child feels the anxiety of the child when other people are around. And then this other article talked about the resilience of children and the secure attachment, and it talked about like sometimes children can be resilient because they can tell that the parent is uncomfortable. And so I just liked the different perspectives of these two articles.
That's cool. I like that. Or are you the one that commented on my thing about how you want your son to be attached to you? I was like, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next? I can go next. One that I wanted to research this week was kids not having enough friends or being an only child, because one of the parents that I interviewed only had one child and only plans on having one, so this was something that they were concerned about. And you guys remember the video a few weeks ago that talked about it's so difficult to be your friend or something like that?
Yeah.
That was one of the resources that I tried to use just because it gave really good information. I really liked the things that he talked about, and even though it was specifically for kids with disabilities, I think it's applicable to kids who are struggling developing friendships at all. And then I also looked up another article where is it? On education.com, but it just talked about how to help children make friends, and one of the things that stood out to me was helping your child like realize their strengths and then like expounding those strengths. So like if they're good at something regarding other people, then help them develop that. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
Yeah, helping your child in the ways that you can, but not like forcing them to make kids. I think a lot of times parents are so forceful that they like set up play dates and all of this stuff, but listen to your child, make sure that you're doing what they want and that you're helping them, I guess, foster their friendships. But that's what I did.
Okay, can I go?
Go for it.
Okay, sorry. So I did kind of a similar one. I did more of like peer pressure and how that factors into a child's development and how they can overcome peer pressure. And one of the factors was, like you said, parents like forcing them to have different friends. And I think to some extent, like parents should have a huge influence over like who your friends are, and they can because they can say, okay, well, you only have this much time to hang out with them, and like those kinds of things. But at the same time, you have to give your children freedom to be with who they want to be with, so that you're not like overpowering everything that they do. My mother-in-law, hold on, let me put the binky back in my baby's mouth. So my brother-in-law wanted to wrestle instead of play basketball, and my mother-in-law was like, absolutely not. Well, I don't want you to wrestle. And I was talking to her about it, and she was like, I mostly just didn't want him to wrestle because I wanted him to be friends with the boys who were playing basketball this year. And she's like, I know that that might be wrong, but she's like, I knew that if he wrestled, he would start hanging out with those other kids. And not that I think that they're awful, but just I really liked his other group of friends better, and he would have lost those friendships. And so I think, and especially in a couple of the articles I read, like the parents really do get to play an important role, and them stepping in like the sooner the better. For the kids when it comes to like unwanted peer pressure. But then also there was an article that talked about developing a strong sense of self that can't really be given to a child. They have to have those experiences themselves to create intrinsically who they are, so they won't like get that pressure from someone else and pressure to be who they don't want to be. So anyways, that was just what I found, and it was really interesting. Moral of the story is like give your kids experiences, but kind of know when to step in and be like, okay, this is an experience we don't want you to be having, but at the same time, like they do need to fall, they need to skin their knees, you know. So I thought it was
I like
interesting.
that. I like how you said that they need to skin their knees, like they need to learn on their own. I think a lot of times parents are too quick to help their children, and then their children like never learn. Helicopter
Right.
parenting.
Yeah. I think
Um,
we
oh,
lost
go ahead.
Portia.
Sorry, what?
I think we lost Portia.
Yeah, I don't know where she went. She disappeared.
Is there any way that you can try adding her back to the call?
Yeah, I'll try. In the
Okay, so
meantime, oh,
Uh-huh.
do you
Go
guys
ahead.
want to go on to the next one? It just says share highlights from your domain interviews on whatever. Oh,
Oh my
just all
gosh.
of the interviews. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. Let me go back and see which one that was.
So it's just all of them. So it's just like the main interview that we gleaned all of the information from.
oh, I'm sorry, like my internet.
You're good.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to go ahead and talk about, let's see, the emotional or social domain that you got an intervention for this week?
Okay, for me, I looked at secure. Okay, let me try to open it up. Oh, kind of like nervous now because of my internet. So I looked at secure um, attachment,
Okay.
unhealthy secure attachment, especially if like the parents are depressed. Um, how even if like how much they love their children, if like they're struggling with stuff like depression. Okay, let me try to get my article. That's not my papers. Okay, let me see. Pick. Yeah, like let's say when parents fail to bond with their children,
Okay.
like yeah, the child um, suffers. And then it's hard for a child to develop emotionally without the attachment of of her parents. And then the child can read like the non-verbal cues if like the mom like is kind of like depressed, is unattached uh, to a child. Oh my god, I don't know where I read my put my information. Okay, yeah, like obstacles to creating a secure attachment. Yeah, that's what I looked at. I did the research on.
Okay.
Yeah, it says like sometimes like parents like even if like they love their children, once they are depressed, it's hard for them to bond with their children or even like to calm them down, soothe them, and then that it creates emotional stress on the child, and not
Mhm.
alone even to a parent. And then as the child's become older, it's still like looking for that secure attachment, and then if it's not there, the child starts to become depressed, becomes anxious, and then become angry all the time, and then he doesn't learn like ways how to soothe himself, even how to express him or yeah herself.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I prepared.
Okay. The next thing we're supposed to talk about is we're supposed to attempt to identify common elements or effective interventions targeted to different problems in different domains. That hurts my head. Do you guys know what that means?
Attempt to identify common elements of effective interventions targeted to different problems in different domains. So things that we think that will be good for
All domains?
parents to use with children across the
Yeah.
board.
Sure. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that, okay, I'll go have a stab at this. I
Go
think
for it.
that, honestly, I really think that a lot of family support needs to be there. Like, if you think about, like, with obesity that we've all talked about, like, there needs to be support from the family, like, in them changing their life. Or, like, with pornography, there needs to be support and love from the parents to show that, like, okay, you can get through this and we're here for you. We're not mad at you. Or, like, with school or with like secure attachments, like they still love them, but they need to know how to like reach out and like make friends and stuff. So that's what I think.
I like that.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me think about the Family Proclamation and just how like it gives, I don't know, guidance, I guess, regarding this. And if we just like kind of follow those things, the gospel, I'm not gonna lie, the gospel is definitely something that can help in all of these domains.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think.
And then I think like outside help too. If like say the parents, they don't know what to do because there's some obstacles along the line. That's the reason like they're having those problems. So outside help, like you find out in your local communities what they can offer when it comes to the problem that you're going through with your child. Um, Anything like YMCA. I know I mentioned like YMCA. I think YMCA is like everywhere.
Yeah.
And you can reach out to the church too, like even to like friends,
Yeah.
other family members. And I like that Holly mentioned like working as a family. That's the main thing, like helping one another. I think like if a mom is the one like has a struggle taking care of their child, that and the father can help too.
Yeah.
So it's a family thing.
That makes sense.
Something that I think is valuable, like I agree with every single one of them. Everybody took my answers of what I would have thought to say. But I think also something that we need to be aware of that can help, and especially for parents, is just that to not ever think that, oh, my kids will never struggle with depression. I will never have obese kids. I will never, like, you always have to be open to like those struggles and those issues like happening, and you can never really, I don't think you can ever be fully prepared for any of those struggles. But I think to some extent you can just be open to being willing to find the medical help that they need, to work with them, to get them better. And I just think the more open you are as a parent and as maybe even a teacher or an educator, like you need to be kind of put your own agenda and your own biases and your own like what perfection is going to be, like put that aside when it comes to actually dealing with real problems in a family or with a certain student, and just say, okay, so this is the issue, let's weigh all of the options, let's actually look at what's going on and let's see what we can do, instead of, you know, oh, this is a straight A student, he obviously doesn't struggle with anxiety. Like that, I mean, those things can happen, and having an open mind to what could be wrong or what some of the interventions could be is probably one of the most valuable things that you can do. So
I really like that.
I
I
do
think
too.
that's a really good point. As parents, we don't want our kids to have problems, and so it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to admit if they do.
mhm.
I don't have kids, but I'm assuming that's not the case.
Yeah.
Something I'm thinking about with Holland and Portia is that balance is really important, because Holland talked about how family is really key and Portia talked about outside sources. And so balance between all of it is what I think is the most effective, rather than all family and just being this like unit that never uses outside sources or just using outside sources. I think it's important to use all of the resources that we have.
I don't know if this applies, but just kind of it came to my mind when you were saying the balance, just moderation in all things. I mean, if you are just strictly with your family all the time, that's awesome, but at the same time, you don't know how to interact with anyone else. And
Yeah.
if you only are hanging out with your friends, you don't know your family, you don't know what you're missing. And so just moderation and balance, like you said, in everything that you do and in all of your interactions can really, really help. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, So now it says we're supposed to conclude by sharing our best general insight or suggestion about effectively intervening to foster optimum development.
I'm going to go back to the support from family and friends. I think that's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like it's important to seek go outside and ask for help from other people if you can't do it. Like there's more programs out there, the government programs that they can help.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to just look and get the help that you need.
I completely agree with Holland on this. I think the best intervention that I could think of would just be to have a strong relationship with all of your kids, have a strong relationship with your spouse, and just really know each other and know when there is another intervention that needs to come into play. Like know
Yeah.
be able to see those signs of, I think my kid has anxiety. I think that my kid is depressed, and be able to work with them through it and just love them through it and have them and having them know that that support is there, so that they aren't scared to come to you if something happens, or if they are having trouble sleeping at night, if they do have night terrors, like they aren't scared to come and talk to you about it, or maybe sleep with you. I mean, I slept with my parents while I was like 8. I had terrible night terrors. So I think you're absolutely right. I think the support from your family at home is just, I think that's the number one best intervention that you could ever come up with.
Yeah, and yeah, I like that. And I think like parents, they need to know what's happening with their children, especially if they go to school. When they come back from school, they need like sit down with them, find out what's going on in school, because sometimes they can be bullied, struggling about something, because sometimes parents don't know what's going on in their children's life. So
Yeah.
they need to be then first. Ask those
Um,
questions.
I agree with all of you guys. And just to throw in the gospel, I think prayer. Prayer is one of the best things that we can do, because as parents, we're entitled to revelation for our children, and all truth comes from God. So as long as like we're loving our children, we're doing everything that we can, God
Yeah.
will help us know what to do. And I think, like you were talking about, we're all women. I've heard of mothers in intuition. Is that what it is? Is that true
Yeah.
that you can just like tell when your child?
We call it the spirit in our church.
Yeah,
Guide
like
you.
I don't know. I just went to a funeral this last weekend, and it was this old man that had 10 kids, and they talked about how when he was saying his nightly prayers, he would go through roll call, and if one of his children didn't make roll call, he would call them and be like, "What's wrong?" So he knew when his children were in trouble, and I thought that was really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I don't know. I just think that using prayer and asking for help from God is one of the best
Yeah.
interventions.
And then I think I like that you bring up God, the gospel a lot. Like family home evening is time where parents they need to sit down with their children as they teach them and talk about all the problems that they go through and pray about it as a family.
Yeah.
And they'll
That's awesome. Does someone want to sum up what we've talked about?
I can.
Okay.
Okay, so basically we talked about each of our little projects with our partners, and we targeted pornography, obesity, and how children need to be educated and supported through personal resources and then outside resources. Then we talked about, let's see, our different domain interviews, and then we talked about what were some good interventions. I think that was probably the best part of our discussion, were the different type of interventions that we thought would help, and the fact that like we agreed that family support was a good intervention, and also being able to rely on resources outside the home, like what Portia had said about the YMCA and like getting our children involved, but making sure that the base of support and intervention comes within the home, because everything has to start within the home, and the gospel and our teachings start within the home. And then it says to include what has been learned. And I think honestly that, I mean, we're blessed to be able to be at a church-affiliated school, religious school. And so the biggest thing that I believe I learned and that the group members can agree is that we have to rely on the Lord in prayer, because we've been given so many resources through the gospel to be able to lean on the power of prayer and the power of the Spirit and a mother's intuition. So that's it.
Perfect.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, thank you, Holly.
Guys, anything else? I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Awesome. Well, I will post this to the board.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck
Yeah,
with
thank you,
finals.
too.
You too.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Good.